At this time, I'd like to introduce Dr. Shiva Akula. He's the founder of Cannon Hospice.
Good afternoon, and thank you guys for coming over here for this celebration of life. I'm sure that you heard in hospice it's all about dying, but today we're celebrating life. And that is the concept of Hospice 2.0. Where at Canon, it's all about life and living, not about dying. Dying is the like a 2 minutes or 3 minutes thing that happens where you take a last breath in and out and you're done. We're not talking about just that 3-4 minutes of life. We're talking about the life that's going to be fulfilling, positive, meaningful. Making every meaningful is our goal. And that's what we want to do. Just like, Brother Gary said that each of these guys is projected, and many of them whose families could not be here. My light goes for those spirits. I wanted to let you know that each of them had a story. And telling their story is therapeutic, just like Brother Gary said. Danita said how her name came about. These are the stories. When you actually have a fulfilling, meaningful life, you want to put that in a form of a story. And gone are those days where we don't have any medium where the communication was from verbal, where you tell another person tells another person. We are in technologically advanced stage where we have the greatest library on the earth, National Library of Congress. Don't you want your story in the National Library of Congress? We can make it happen. All of these stories that you just mentioned for a little picture and just a couple of minutes. Hey, listen, we will give 5-10 minutes, and Tom is here. We can make a story. Maybe a simple thing as to how Danita got her name and how it's funny. Or it could be, my story that when I was a kid, back home in India, in a little shanty town that I lived in. I was living with my grandmother, playing marbles, a stick. It's called gilli danda. It's like a local thing. And there's a kid that hit it so hard, it was just flying off like a baseball, flying all the way to the stadium end. And he was my hero. I said, wow, that's what I want to be. And one day, I got sick, and my grandma took me to this, supposed to be a quack, but he acted like a doctor. And he started giving me shots. And for shots, you get 5 rupees, which is like $1, $5. And if you get a pill, it's 50 cents. So he started giving me shots day after day for 7 days. And I got so tired and frustrated with this man who wants to make money out of me. I said, when I grow up, I am going to be a doctor. Make sure I get all those shots to you. And my grandma started telling me, when are you going to be a doctor? When it's going to be? The guy's still there. He's waiting for his shots. You promised him. She won't let me, I was like a little choo-choo train. Every time I was drifting away off the track, she put me back on the track. And today, I stand here as the president of the company, as a healer, a doctor, tribute to my grandma. And that's a story that needs to be told for the generations. I'm telling my grandma's story now. My grandchildren and their children and children needs to hear that. That's all my life is made of this legacy of passed on seeds that they laid. And it's no nonsense, no service to the mankind. And that's the greatest opportunity that I have most of my adult life. I'm serving God. And the God will take care of all the problems that I've had, all the challenges, all the gossip, shit stirrers. Leave it to the God. That's what is happening. Now let me tell you something. I think, we do have the opportunity to track that in a digital format through this story card. We upload to the National Library of Congress. So anybody that's interested, we can do that story for y'all. Now coming up to the life, I just wanted to know, tell one thing, and that is, the goal of the life is happiness, deep spiritual, consciousness, or you may understand as a Christ consciousness. When you reach there, you have peace, love, compassion, and you want that spirit to take over the mind body. And what does the mind create? All kind of negativity, it's going on all over. And so let me tell you a story. There is this enlightened man in India. It was during the British days. It was like in 1940s. 1930, the Britishers left India in 1947. So he was famous. People heard about it. The Britishers even heard and came to talk to him about religion, spirituality, especially spirituality. There's nothing about religion over there. They're all seekers. They're always seeking till they die. So they asked this man, there's a Yankee. He came flying all the way to India, to a small town where this man is, and said, I want happiness. As if, he's got a right all the way from New York. He comes over here, I want happiness. And he said, and it didn't sound like he didn't hear it. I want happiness. Like SpongeBob SquarePants. I can't hear you. And he screams, I want happiness. I came all the way from New York. I'm a millionaire. I'm this, I'm that. And he just waited for a bit. What is that I? It's me, a millionaire. I'm this. I came all the way. He said, just drop that I. I still have want happiness. And so could drop that wants. Then I said, okay, what do you got? Happiness. Well, you discovered the happiness yourself. And he thought that, no, I came all the way just to be told this story. And this is real. There's a documented story of an American who went all the way to this enlightened man and who just simply told him, I want happiness. Drop that I, the ego, the millionaire, the president, and everything that I, just drop that. Wants. You always have desires. Every day you're thinking about, oh, I want that. I want a Mercedes, and I want a big home. I want, all these people, praise me and all this stuff. You just get you. They cannot completely remove the wants. You might keep it to the point where be a simple life and just be enough with what you be gracious, thankful for what you got. And you're left with happiness. And happiness is the special characteristics of a deep, spiritually enlightened person. Compassion, love, peace, happiness. And that's what is, we are about, getting spiritually, charged up. The same person, he had a tumor on his right arm. And of course, in the British days, there was a lot of anesthesia still there. So he had some following. And they said, you know what, we got to go see a doctor. And the doctor examined and said, you got a tumor, osteosarcoma. It needs to be operated. And he said, go right ahead, cut it off. They said, well, we're going to have to put you in general anesthesia. No, you're not putting general anesthesia on me. Everybody said, what? You're going to have an operation on his right arm without anesthesia. They thought he was a little bit nuts, and they got him ready, for anesthesia to go on a standby. So they just, went and then started cutting. And he was looking at it as if nothing ever happened. And he got his own operation, tumor cut off, without anesthesia. Now, how did he do it? That's where I need to explain. And this is a real story. His name is Ramana Maharshi, if you want to take a look into that. What they believe is the dream, wakefulness, deep sleep. These are all three states that we know, each of us know about these three states. But there's this fourth state, which is deep consciousness state. You may understand as a Christ conscious. So when you focus and reach that consciousness, what happens to the body and the mind is completely the spirit, the Christ consciousness is in charge. And you can do anything to the body, you can do anything to the mind, nothing to the body. And that's exactly what he's done. It's just like, how many of you are in the traffic getting so angry and mad and all this stuff? But just imagine when you're flying in beautiful, in the evening, and you look at by the window, that's my favorite. I look at it and say, oh, beautiful, like a red lights, and like a white lights, and how beautiful it is. This is called witness conscious, where you're witnessing from outside. But if you're right there, you're screaming and shouting, and I want to be there, I'm late, and all this stuff. And it's exactly what is the goal, where you reach that spiritual depth. And the way you understand is Christ consciousness, so be it. It could be prayers, it could be music, like we did, it could be meditation, or any other form. And that's what the seekers do. They want to seek every day, different ways, different styles. And that's exactly what we do. I want to close up with, Danita has told you about the 5 stages of grieving process. Actually, my son, who's in the military, he's in San Antonio. When he was a kid, he taught me DABDA. I said, what is DABDA? So he said, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Those are the 5 steps of Kubler-Ross. Kubler-Ross is one of the greatest psychiatrists who has started this hospice, service movement or something. So these steps are what, grieving happens. So it could be, the stages like Danita explained. What I wanted to emphasize is the depression part. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression. Depression is very serious. Every 12 minutes, an American killing himself. And this is real. All of the stuff like the music, the meditation, all those things, not going to cut it. It's a chemical imbalance. Serotonin, all those chemicals are produced. They got to be treated. You may come across some people that just say, like a little cut off. Oh, what's that? Oh, no, it's just a little. When you suspect somebody has some suicidal ideation, they need to get on the phone, call 911 or suicide hotline, and it's very important. Because every 12 minutes, right here in America, a young life is being lost because actually suicide is very high in younger population, almost like a second common cause of death. There's a lot of young children are dying. So it's very important for us to understand these 5 steps of grieving process. And I also wanted to kind of thank, lastly, especially for the Canon crew, Brother Gary, Chaplain Craig, Dr. Holloway, Martina, Crystal, all of my staff, this is a wonderful, this is after 2 years that we have come to this celebration of life, and I just want you to remember, and I also want you to thank each of you guys that came in, and this help in the grieving does not stop with here. Brother Gary has some groups, but we also have Zoom group meetings. These are every 2 weeks or something that we have a Zoom meetings on the grieving process. So people can call in and then go on the Zoom. And this is free charge, free, nothing. So what is very important is these grief hotlines or the Zoom lines. They're meant to identify anybody with the complicated grief, where somebody could potentially suicidal tendencies or mentally imbalanced. So those are the people that are sorted out and they get some special help. So that Zoom and Brother Gary's grief support groups are ongoing. Although we're required by the Medicare to give 13 months of grieving process, grieving support, but we have ongoing all the time. And before I close it, I just want you to understand, here at Canon, the hospice is about living. When you live meaningful life, make every moment meaningful, fruitful, purposeful, then you're so enriched with the life, you come to the last step, which is acceptance. I got it, doc, I'm ready. That situation is where we try to push everybody to be acceptable of the dying process. So at that time, you just say goodbye, hold hands, whatever. Makes it like as if easy peasy. Is that what you call it? Of course, it's not that easy, for me to say that. Death is because we are so entrenched with this accumulative actions of the body and mind, and we are so, clinging to the material desires, like, I want happiness, that's me, I want that. When you get all those things to your deep spiritual consciousness, Christ consciousness, all that is nothing. So eventually death is just a passing, just like I believe in afterlife. That's probably what's going to happen, and it's going to be a smooth transition. All right? Thank you all for coming, and thank you for allowing us to take care of your families. And we're always there for you. And I encourage a lot of you guys to come forward. We have a wonderful videos that we have made of the stories, and some of them have been uploaded to the National Library of Congress. And it's not just a few. We have had more than 150 stories already, and it's still ongoing. So please come forward, and we'd be glad to help you with that. Okay, thank you.